So what's your name?
I'm Seth Andrew.
And Seth, what do you do?
Two roles. One is Superintendent of Democracy Prep Public Schools, and then I also founded an organization called Democracy Builders, which organizes parents for civic action.
So talk to me for a minute about Democracy Prep Public Schools. What are they?
So Democracy Prep Public Schools are 5 public charter schools in Central Harlem. We're the #1 performing middle school and the #1 performing charter school in the entire city of New York. And we are a school that is focused on civic education for every single kid and every single family to make sure that not only are they getting ready to succeed in college, but also be great citizens to change the world.
So tell me a little bit about being in Harlem in particular. How has that influenced your school and so on?
Yeah, so Harlem is really the epicenter of school choice right now, and certainly in New York. There's more school choice in Harlem right now than anywhere else in the country per square foot. And so you've got finally parents who have an option of where they want to send their kids, and it's creating a real marketplace for excellence in terms of school quality and school choice. And so it's something we're really excited to be part of and help to continue to grow that movement over the next couple of years.
Have you felt that choice and parents maybe not wanting to go to your school has changed the way you've operated in any way?
So we have no problem. I mean, basically every family in Harlem has applied to Democracy Prep. So we had 1,500 applicants last year for, what is 100 seats in the 6th grade. Next year we're going to be tripling, so we'll have 300 seats in 6th grade, but there'll still be a couple thousand applicants for those seats. There's only 1,000 6th graders in all of Harlem. So really, it's every single family wants to come to Democracy Prep right now, and so we have to build more schools to make sure that they could all have a seat at a school like ours.
How do you respond to the criticism that it's selective, that not everyone actually applies to schools, and that criticism?
I mean, there's 3 real quick answers. The first is Democracy Prep gets everybody. The second is that we mail literally an application, it's a single-page application in English and Spanish to every eligible family in the entire district at their home. And then we also do a broad campaign with local elementary schools to make sure that every single family knows. We have disproportionate numbers of special ed, ELL students. We have a huge number of students who come from disadvantaged backgrounds. In fact, 5% of our families are in the homeless system. So there's no way that you can look at the data and not say that we're serving the toughest kids in the city.
What do you think about the requirement to have quotas on the numbers of special populations in charter schools?
In general, I think quotas are a bad thing. I think that the whole idea of the movement is about school choice, and there's a responsibility on charter operators like us to make sure we're reaching all families, but the idea of a quota is a bad one, really. The other problem with it is that there's not a good way to measure it. So for example, we have about 25% of our kids come in with special needs, but by the time they've been with us for a few years, that number's gone dramatically down. In English language learners, it's 12% walking in the door, but in our 10th grade, it's 0% because they've all learned English and now they're no longer ELL. So when you look at averages, sometimes you see the wrong thing.
Tell me a little bit about Democracy Builders. What are you doing there?
So Democracy Builders is something we spun off from our work at Democracy Prep to help organize families for civic engagement in the Upper Manhattan community, and then we're now working with 50 schools across the entire city of New York to get parents excited about pushing for more school choice. This year we're going to be fighting against LIFO, last in, first out. We're going to be making sure that charter schools and parents have choice in the schools that they attend, be they charter or public, and we want to make sure that every kid has equal funding, and that some kids don't get a lot more funding than others just because of the name on the door of their school.
So those are your sort of legislative priorities. What are the kinds of strategies that you're using?
So it's a grassroots organizing model, so our families are trained by other families who have gone through our Democracy Builders training program, and then they help to organize the families at their school, and then that group of families works on the things that they care about most. They do phone banks, they'll do grassroots canvassing, they'll get out in the community and make sure that they have spoken to everybody in their school, and then they do legislative advocacy. So they meet with their elected representatives, they go to Albany. We just came back on Tuesday with a couple thousand charter families in Albany, meeting with every one of our elected officials, telling them why these priorities are so important to the future of our kids.
Have there been particular elected officials who've been helpful to your organization?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, there is a wide variety of support in Albany, but we're really focused on getting everybody to understand that school choice should be a right. It should be a fundamental right, and that we want to have every family have that school choice right, and we want to make sure every legislator in the state senate or the state assembly knows that, and so we're meeting with those that support us, those that are on the fence, and those that oppose us to let them know that this is something that every family deserves, is the choice of a great quality public school.
Thanks very much, Seth, for taking the time.
Pleasure.